Welcome back, everyone. Today we have a deep dive that's been specially crafted just for you into the very heart of Buddhist philosophy. We'll be exploring some truly fascinating concepts from Thich Nhat Hanh's book, Being Peace, some sections of BuddhaNet.net on Buddhist wisdom, and also transcripts of talks by Thich Nhat Hanh and Ajahn Pasano.
It's a really rich landscape. It offers insights into relative and absolute truths, impermanence, non-self, nirvana, and how these profound ideas can be applied to your everyday life for greater peace and happiness.
Sounds incredible. So where do we even begin with something as profound as Buddhist philosophy?
Well, I think a great place to start is with the concept of two truths, relative and absolute. Relative truth is the truth of our everyday experience, right? How we perceive the world is shaped by our individual experiences and circumstances. But Buddhism proposes that there's also an absolute truth, a deeper reality that goes beyond our personal interpretations.
So it's like seeing beyond the surface level.
Exactly. Think of it like this. Have you ever noticed how a cup of hot tea can seem too hot to hold at first, but as it cools down, it becomes more pleasant?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, the tea itself doesn't change, but our experience of it does.
Right. That's relative truth in action. The temperature of the tea is a fixed reality, but our perception of it changes based on our conditions. The absolute truth, on the other hand, would be the unchanging nature of the tea itself.
This makes me think about how we often react to situations based on our immediate perception without pausing to consider a bigger picture. How can understanding these two truths help us approach those situations differently?
That's such an insightful question, and it leads us perfectly to the Three Dharma Seals. These are fundamental principles in Buddhist thought: impermanence, non-self, and nirvana. They're like pillars that support the entire structure of Buddhist understanding.
These Dharma seals sound really interesting. Let's dive into them.
The first one, impermanence, is the recognition that everything is in constant flux. Nothing stays the same, you know? Everything changes, from the seasons to our thoughts and feelings. Everything, even political regimes.
So instead of clinging to things as they are, we should embrace the fact that change is the only constant.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And by embracing impermanence, we can free ourselves from the suffering that comes with clinging to things that are constantly changing. It also allows us to appreciate the preciousness of each moment, knowing that it won't last forever. Think about your favorite possession or a cherished relationship. How might knowing about impermanence affect the way you view and experience those things?
It almost makes you want to savor every interaction
Mm.
and experience more deeply, knowing that it won't last forever.
Exactly. Now let's move on to the second Dharma seal, non-self. This one can be a bit mind-bending.
Okay, I'm ready. Hit me with it.
Non-self challenges the idea that we have a fixed, independent self. Buddhism teaches that we are all interconnected, like waves in a vast ocean. Each wave appears to be separate, but it's ultimately just a part of the water.
So instead of seeing ourselves as separate individuals, we should see ourselves as part of something much, much larger.
Precisely. There's a great story in Being Peace where Thich Nhat Hanh illustrates this concept. He talks about a person, let's call him A, who encounters a sage. The sage tells A that he's actually another person. B, A is obviously confused until the sage reveals a mirror. When A looks in the mirror, he sees B. Every movement A makes is mirrored by B. A even starts to feel B's emotions. It's a powerful way to demonstrate that the boundaries between ourselves and others aren't as solid as we think.
Wow, that story really drives the point home. Have you ever felt that kind of interconnectedness? Maybe when you're out in nature or deeply connecting with another person. It's interesting to consider how this idea of non-self might shift our perspective on our relationships.
It can be a profound shift. Now let's explore the third Dharma seal, nirvana.
This is the one I think a lot of people misunderstand. It's often portrayed as some far off paradise we reach after death.
That's a common misconception. Nirvana is actually the ultimate reality, the ground of being free from all concepts, including birth and death. It's not a place, but rather a state of being, a state of complete liberation from suffering.
So it's not a destination, but a state of mind.
Precisely. And here's the truly liberating part. Nirvana isn't something you have to wait for. It can be accessed in the present moment through deep understanding of impermanence and non-self.
That's a really powerful idea. But how do we develop this kind of understanding? How do we move beyond simply knowing these concepts to actually experiencing them?
That's where wisdom comes in. And wisdom in the Buddhist context isn't just intellectual knowledge. It's a lived experience that's achieved through observation, contemplation, and meditation. It's about transforming these teachings into a way of life.
So it's not enough to just read about it. We have to actually apply it to our lives.
Exactly. Think of it like using a road map. You can study the map and memorize all the roads, but until you get in the car and start driving, you won't actually reach your destination.
That makes perfect sense. I can't tell you how many times I've tried to assemble furniture without reading the instructions first.
Disaster.
Right, and that's where understanding comes in. It's about seeing things as they truly are, beyond surface appearances. It's about understanding the deeper causes and conditions that shape our experiences. For example, think about a time when you misjudged a situation based on limited information. How might deeper understanding have changed your response?
That's a great question to ponder. So we've got these big ideas: two truths, three Dharma seals,
Right.
understanding. But how do we actually integrate them into our daily lives? That's where mindfulness comes in. It's a key practice in Buddhism and an incredibly powerful tool for cultivating wisdom and transforming our experience of life.
Mindfulness. Everyone's talking about it these days.
Yeah.
What does it really mean in the context of Buddhism?
In context of Buddhism, mindfulness is about bringing your full attention to the present moment without judgment. It's about being fully present with whatever's happening, your breath, your thoughts, your feelings, your surroundings.
So it's not about emptying your mind, but about being aware of it.
Exactly. A simple way to cultivate mindfulness is through breathing exercises. Thich Nhat Hanh suggests focusing on your in and out breath, gently smiling to your eyes, or visualizing yourself as a flower, a mountain, water, or even space.
I love these visualizations. They seem so calming and grounding. I'm definitely gonna try these. What about you? Have you found these practices helpful in your own life?
They can be incredibly powerful. Thich Nhat Hanh also emphasizes the importance of daily reflections, specifically the five remembrances.
Five remembrances. What are those?
The reflections on aging, sickness, death, change, and the impact of our actions. Now, these topics might seem a bit heavy at first, but Thich Nhat Hanh explains that contemplating them can actually foster a deeper appreciation for life.
It's about using these reflections to live more fully in the present.
Precisely. I encourage you to consider how contemplating these five remembrances might shift your priorities or your perspective on daily challenges, what truly matters to you.
That's something for all of us to reflect on. It's so easy to get caught up in the daily grind and lose sight of what truly matters. Mindfulness offers a way to reconnect with the beauty and fragility of life. But let's be real. Life isn't always sunshine and roses. How can mindfulness help us deal with difficult emotions like anger, fear, or sadness?
Yeah. That's a crucial question. Thich Nhat Hanh uses a beautiful analogy. He compares mindfulness to a mother tending to a crying baby.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
When a baby cries, a loving mother doesn't ignore or scold the baby. She holds the baby with compassion and tries to understand why the baby is crying. Mindfulness is similar. Instead of pushing away difficult emotions, we learn to hold them with compassion and awareness.
So it's about acknowledging our emotions and trying to understand their root cause.
Exactly. This can be incredibly powerful in transforming suffering. Instead of being overwhelmed by difficult emotions, we learn to work with them skillfully. Ajahn Pasano beautifully captures this when he says, "Our difficulties and problems and the pain and confusion of our lives are not from extraordinary events outside, but from the internal movement of our mind."
It highlights how our thoughts and perceptions play a huge role in creating our own suffering. And mindfulness helps us to become aware of these thoughts and feelings, so we can change our relationship to them. So we're not trying to get rid of difficult emotions, but learning to approach them with mindfulness and compassion.
Precisely. And this applies not just to our own emotions, but to our interactions with others, especially in challenging relationships. Thich Nhat Hanh emphasizes the importance of listening deeply to oneself and others. He even offers guidance on how to communicate difficult emotions to loved ones with mindful language.
That's so important. It's easy to say, hurtful things when we're caught up in anger or frustration. Mindfulness can help us communicate more skillfully and compassionately, which leads us to the fascinating concept of the three bodies of Buddha. Three bodies. I thought Buddha was just one person.
It's not as literal as it sounds. The three bodies, Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Nirmanakaya, are representations of different aspects of Buddhahood.
Okay, break it down for me.
Think of Dharmakaya as the truth body, the essence of the teachings, which can be found in everything.
Everything, like even in this microphone.
Yes. Thich Nhat Hanh says anything that can help us wake up is part of the Dharmakaya: trees, grass, birds, human beings, and so on. It's not separate from us, but something we can connect with in every moment.
Wow. So
Yeah.
we can connect with Dharmakaya through everyday experiences.
Exactly. Then there's Sambhogakaya, the bliss body. It's the fruit of practice, the joy experienced through mindful living. It's the happiness and peace that arise when we live in alignment with the teachings.
And finally, there's Nirmanakaya, the manifested body.
Yes. This refers to the historical Buddha and all those who embodied the teachings. It's the way the teachings manifest in the world through actions and interactions. What's truly empowering is that each person has the potential to manifest these three bodies within themselves through practice.
That's incredible. So we're not just learning about Buddhism. We're learning about our own potential for wisdom, compassion, and joy.
Absolutely. Buddhist teachings offer a profound path to awakening, both individually and collectively. That's the beauty of these teachings. They're not just abstract concepts. They offer practical tools for transforming our lives.
I love that. So we've explored the two truths, the three Dharma Seals, wisdom, mindfulness, and even touched on the three bodies of Buddha.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we need to know to really get this this whole Buddhist philosophy thing?
Well, a core principle we haven't discussed yet is right thought. It's about recognizing the power of our thoughts and learning to cultivate wholesome ones. Our thoughts really do shape our reality.
So it's like our thoughts shape our reality.
Exactly. The Buddha said, if one speaks or acts with a pure mind, happiness follows like a shadow that never leaves. If one speaks or acts with an impure mind, suffering follows like the wheel follows the hoof of the ox.
Wow. That's a powerful image. So how do we purify our minds? Is it about just thinking positive thoughts all the time?
It's a bit more nuanced than that. Right thought involves cultivating specific qualities of mind, like renunciation, loving kindness, and compassion.
Renunciation isn't that a bit extreme? Does that mean we have to give up everything we enjoy?
Not necessarily. Renunciation in this context is about understanding the impermanent and ultimately unsatisfying nature of clinging to things. Buddhanet.net describes it like drinking salt water. It might seem appealing at first, but ultimately it just makes you thirstier.
I get it. It's not about deprivation, but about recognizing that true happiness doesn't come from clinging to external things.
Exactly. And to cultivate renunciation, we can meditate on the unsatisfactory nature of existence.
That sounds a bit depressing.
It's not about dwelling on the negative. It's about recognizing that clinging to things that are constantly changing will inevitably lead to suffering, and that realization can actually be quite liberating.
Okay, I'm starting to see that. So renunciation helps us loosen our grip on things. And then what about loving kindness and compassion? Those seem a bit more straightforward.
They do, but they also require cultivation. Loving kindness is the intention and capacity to bring joy to others, and compassion is the ability to transform and remove suffering.
But how can we cultivate these qualities if we're struggling with our own difficult emotions?
Remember that analogy of the mother tending to her crying baby. That same mindful and compassionate approach can be applied to ourselves.
So it's about treating ourselves with the same same kindness and understanding that we would offer to a loved one.
Exactly. It's about acknowledging our own pain and responding with compassion rather than judgment. And Nhat Hanh calls this watering the seeds of happiness.
Watering the seeds of
Yeah.
happiness. I love that. So instead of focusing on our shortcomings, we focus on nurturing the qualities we want to cultivate.
Precisely. And as we cultivate more loving kindness and compassion towards ourselves, it naturally overflows into our interactions with others.
This reminds me of something Thich Nhat Hanh said about listening. He talks about Avalokiteshvara,
Yeah.
the bodhisattva of compassion, and how listening deeply is essential for alleviating suffering.
That's a wonderful connection. And he emphasizes that listening should be done without judgment or reaction. It's about truly hearing and understanding the other person's experience.
That can be so challenging, especially when we're in conflict with someone.
Yeah.
It's easy to get defensive or want to interrupt and share our own perspective.
It is, but Thich Nhat Hanh offers practical tips for cultivating mindful listening. He suggests taking a few deep breaths before speaking, acknowledging the other person's feelings, and using kind and compassionate language.
So it's like taking a pause before reacting, really trying to see the situation from the other person's point of view, and speaking in a way that promotes understanding rather than escalation.
Exactly, and he also talks about the importance of communicating our own feelings in a way that doesn't cause more harm. He calls this the technique of the round.
The technique of the round. What's that?
It's about choosing the right time and place to have difficult conversations. If you're feeling overwhelmed or angry, it's better to take some time to calm down and reflect before engaging in a potentially explosive discussion.
That makes so much sense. I can't tell you how many times I've regretted saying something in the heat of the moment.
We've all been there. And Thich Nhat Hanh suggests using a phrase like, "Darling, what you just said hurt me very deeply. I want to talk about it on Friday night."
So it's about acknowledging the hurt, but postponing the conversation until you're both in a more receptive space.
Precisely. And that gives you time to practice mindful breathing, walking meditation, or whatever helps you to calm down and cultivate a more compassionate mindset.
I love this idea. It's like scheduling a time to disarm the bombs instead of letting them explode all over the place.
That's a great way to put it. And what's interesting is that this practice of mindful communication isn't just limited to our personal relationships. It can be applied to all areas of our lives.
So even in the workplace or in our interactions with strangers.
Absolutely. Thich Nhat Hanh suggests using the same mindful approach when we're driving, talking on the phone, or even responding to emails.
Wow. So mindfulness really is a way of life, not just something we do for a few minutes each day.
Exactly. And Ajahn Pasano talks about the importance of focusing on the process rather than the goal. He says there's no way to happiness. Happiness is the way.
That's so profound. It's like by focusing on cultivating mindfulness and compassion in each moment, we're actually creating the conditions for happiness to arise.
Precisely. And this brings us back to the concept of nirvana. It's not some far off destination, but a state of being that can be experienced in the present moment through mindful living.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Two truth, three Dharma seals: wisdom, mindfulness, right thought, loving kindness, compassion, mindful communication, and even a touch of nirvana. My mind is officially full.
It is a lot to take in, but remember, the beauty of these teachings is that you don't have to master them all at once. It's about taking small steps each day, practicing mindfulness in everyday moments, and cultivating a kinder and more compassionate way of of being.
That feels very, very doable. It's not about becoming a perfect Buddhist, but about integrating these teachings into our lives in a way that feels authentic and meaningful.
Exactly. And as Thich Nhat Hanh says, the Buddha is not a god. He is a human being like us. And the word Buddha means the person who is awake.
So we all have the potential to awaken to our own Buddha nature.
Absolutely. And it's through practice, through cultivating mindfulness and compassion that we unlock that potential.
This is so inspiring. It makes me want to go out and meditate on a mountaintop.
Well, you don't have to go that far. Thich Nhat Hanh reminds us that the kingdom of God, the pure land, can be found right here, right now, in the present moment.
So it's not about escaping the world, but about transforming our experience of it.
Exactly. And one of the most powerful ways to do that is through embracing the five remembrances.
It's the five remembrances. We talked about them earlier, but I have to admit I'm still a little intimidated by them. Contemplating aging, sickness, death, change, and the impact of our actions. It's not exactly lighthearted stuff.
I understand it can feel a bit daunting at first, but Thich Nhat Hanh emphasizes that these reflections, while seemingly morbid, can actually foster a deeper appreciation for life.
Okay, so how do we approach these reflections in a way that feels helpful rather than scary?
Thich Nhat Hanh suggests starting each day by reciting the five remembrances. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature to change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My actions are my only true belongings. I cannot escape the consequences of my actions. My actions are the ground on which I stand.
Wow. Hearing them read aloud like that really brings their power home. It's a stark reminder of the impermanence of everything.
It is, and rather than fearing these truths, Thich Nhat Hanh encourages us to embrace them. He says instead of suppressing it, invite it up, look directly at it.
So it's about acknowledging these realities rather than trying to push them away.
Exactly. And by confronting these fears, we can actually free ourselves from their grip.
But how do we do that? How do we look directly at these difficult truths without being overwhelmed by them?
This is where mindfulness comes in again. Thich Nhat Hanh suggests practicing mindful breathing as we contemplate each remembrance, and as difficult emotions arise, we can acknowledge their presence with kindness and compassion. He says, "Good morning, my little fear. Glad to meet you. Glad to see you because now there is an opportunity to encounter you."
So it's like welcoming these difficult emotions as guests rather than trying to fight them off.
Exactly. And with each breath, we can offer ourselves compassion and understanding. Thich Nhat Hanh says, every time you practice like that, your fear will lose some of its strength right when you do the work of recognition.
That's so powerful. It reminds me of something we talked about earlier, holding our emotions like a mother holding her crying baby.
It's the same principle. By offering ourselves compassion and understanding, we can transform our relationship to these difficult emotions.
This is starting to make a lot of sense. It's not about denying or suppressing our fears, but about approaching them with mindfulness and compassion. And through that process, we can actually start to heal and transform.
That's the heart of Buddhist practice, transforming suffering into peace and joy.
This is all also so profound. I'm curious, what stands out to you as the most important takeaway from all of this?
For me, it's the realization that the path to happiness isn't about acquiring things or achieving some future state. It's about cultivating mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom in each moment.
I love that. It's a reminder that the true happiness is an inside job. It's not something we find out there in the world, but it's something we cultivate within ourselves.
And as we cultivate these qualities within ourselves, it naturally ripples outwards, impacting our relationships and the world around us.
This has been an incredibly insightful deep dive. But before we wrap things up, there's one more concept I want to explore.
I'm intrigued. What is it?
Well, in our discussion of the three Dharma Seals, we talked about impermanence and non-self, but we didn't really dive into the third seal, nirvana.
Ah, yes, nirvana. It's often misunderstood as some kind of blissful afterlife, but as we discussed earlier, it's actually a state of being that can be experienced in the present moment.
Exactly. But I'm still a bit fuzzy on what that actually means. What does it mean to experience nirvana in the here and now?
The Thich Nhat Hanh describes nirvana as the complete silencing of concepts. It's about transcending our limited ideas of self-permanence and separateness and realizing the interconnectedness of all things.
Okay. So it's about letting go of our clinging to concepts and experiencing reality as it truly is.
Precisely. And Thich Nhat Hanh emphasizes that nirvana is not something we achieve through striving or effort. He says the waves do not exist outside the water. If you know how to touch the waves, you touch the water at the same time.
So nirvana is already present within us. We just need to learn how to access
Yes,
it.
exactly.
And how do we do that?
Through the very practices we've been discussing, mindfulness, compassion, and right understanding.
So by cultivating these qualities, we're actually cultivating nirvana within ourselves.
That's the beauty of these teachings. They're not just about intellectual understanding, but about transforming our way of being in the world.
This is all so mind-blowing. It's like we're not just learning about Buddhism. We're learning about the very nature of reality.
That's the power of these teachings. They offer a profound path to awakening, both individually and collectively.
This has been an incredible journey.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed by all this information. How can our listener integrate these teachings into their daily life without getting lost in the complexity?
That's a great question. And Thich Nhat Hanh offers a simple yet profound practice for cultivating mindfulness and compassion in everyday moments. He calls it touching the earth.
Touching the earth. What does that mean?
It's a practice of grounding yourself in the present moment by bringing your attention to the sensations of your feet on the ground. As you walk, you can recite the following gatha. Breathing in, I arrive in the here and the now. Breathing out, I am home.
That sounds so simple yet powerful. It's like a way of bringing mindfulness into every step we take.
Exactly. And as you walk, you can also bring your attention to the beauty and wonder of your surroundings. Thich Nhat Hanh says, when I touch the earth, I know that the earth, our mother, is still there, and I am nourished by the fact that I am alive and walking on the earth.
So it's a way of connecting with the earth, with the present moment, and with the miracle of life itself.
Exactly. And this simple practice can be incredibly transformative. It's a way of cultivating gratitude, peace, and joy in the midst of our busy lives.
I love that. It's a reminder that mindfulness isn't just something we do on a meditation cushion. It's a way of being that can infuse every aspect of our lives.
Absolutely. And as we cultivate mindfulness in our daily lives, we start to see the world with new eyes. We appreciate the beauty around us more deeply. We connect with others more authentically, and we live with greater peace and joy.
This has been such an incredible deep dive, but I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of these profound teachings. Where can our listener go to learn more?
That's a great question, and I encourage our listener to explore the sources we've discussed today. The Thich Nhat Hanh's book, Being Peace, the sections on Buddhist wisdom from buddhanet.net, and the talks by Thich Nhat Hanh and Ajahn Pisano. They offer a wealth of wisdom and guidance for anyone seeking to deepen their understanding of Buddhist philosophy.
Wonderful. And as we conclude this deep dive, I want to leave our listener with a final thought to ponder.
Mm-hmm.
We've explored the concepts of impermanence and non-self, and we've talked about the transformative power of mindfulness and compassion. But what does it really mean to live in alignment with these teachings? How might embracing the impermanence of everything, the interconnectedness of all beings, and the ever-present potential for awakening actually change the way we live our lives? What would it look like to truly embody these teachings in our relationships, our work, and our engagement with the world?
That's a powerful question. It invites us to move beyond intellectual understanding and into the realm of embodied wisdom. It challenges us to not just think about these teachings, but to live them.
It's a journey of awakening that we can all embark on, one mindful step at a time.
And as we walk this path together, we discover that the true nature of reality is far more vast, interconnected, and wondrous than we could have ever imagined.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the heart of Buddhist philosophy. We hope you found it insightful and inspiring. Until next time, may you live each day with presence, compassion, and a deep sense of peace.